Well, welcome guys. Today is Tuesday, September 22nd. And if you guys came in and you read the board, you will see what are we going to learn about today, looking at the morning message. Justina.
We're going to be learning about figurative language.
Very good. We're going to be learning today about figurative language. There were two things on the do now. The first thing was to write your homework down. Okay, Jane, what's tonight's homework?
It's read chapters 1 through 6 and
Good. Tonight we're going to be reading chapter 2 and 3, and you guys are going to be completing the reading guide. And then you guys also put your homework out in front of you so you could have checked it. For the people who are at home, just have your homework out. I'm not going to worry about checking your homework. You don't have to upload your homework. You guys, we're going to be using it today as we talk out loud. Okay? And then when you guys are here in school, I'll be checking your work. I checked everybody's work here. They have their homework. They're ready for that to start. All right. I want all of you, including you folks at home, open your notebooks to the notes we took yesterday. Right? Open your notebooks to the notes we took yesterday. I'm going to project them up here on the board. So yesterday we learned about what topic, John? What was the topic of our notes yesterday? Yeah. So what I want you to do is try to get rid of that L sound in the middle. See this second, or see that first R? You almost hear it twice. So watch as I say. You say litter, and then rary. So it's almost like this R in the middle. You hear it twice. Literary. Say litter, rary. And then you put those together. Literary elements. And what did we learn? What are the literary elements? Now don't give me the list. What are the literary elements? Look at those first two bullets. Okay? Everyone at home, I want you to look at your notes, and I want you to look at what are the literary elements. Justina? Say it loud. Authors use. This is a variety. What I want you, I don't want you to read. I want you, Justina. I don't want you to use this word because you're struggling with it. I want you to use Justina words. As you understand, we have two bullets about what the literary elements are. So I want you to be able to say it in your own words. What are the literary elements? Do you want to give it a shot, or do you want to move to someone else? All right. Okay, well, what I'm seeing is you're reading the bullet. I don't want you to read the bullet. I want you to look at the bullet. Do you have your notes out? I want you to look at that bullet. I want you to read it in your head, and I want you to think about it. And I want you to think. And this is your answer. I'm asking you, what are the literary elements? Your answer is going to be, again, with the words, the literary elements are. The literary elements are, and then you're going to tell me what they are as you understand them. Jane, you give it a guess. The literary elements. Look at the bullets.
The literary elements are
What are they?
strategy and devices to help
Authors.
authors.
Right. Very good. It's strategies that authors use to help them write. Strategies that authors use to help them write. Okay. Give me one of them. Piper. Give me one of the strategies. Give me one of the literary elements. Figurative language. We'll go right around the room. Jane, give me the next.
Point of view.
All right. Oh, she skipped ahead. Jane's throwing me a curveball. Okay. Jane said point of view. Ruth. Conflict is another one of those strategies. John. Mood. All right. Justina. Close. Character you got right. And then it's isation. Isation. All right. Piper.
Point of view.
We got point of view. Let's do another one. Setting. We got, what? Two more. John?
Oh no, plot.
Plot. Ruth? Tone. I think we missed the end. Okay, so those are the 9 that you guys are going to learn about throughout the year. Today, guys, we're going to focus on the very first one, figurative language. Everybody, turn your notebook to the next blank page. Now, we always use the front and the back, okay? So do not skip the back. Everyone turn your notebooks to the back. Take out your glue sticks, and we're going to glue this in. Okay, so now, guys, we're going to glue in these notes that look like this.
Wait, you didn't say it that page. Wait, which one was that? That one? What?
We're going to glue in the notes. I'm going to hold them right up to the camera.
Hang on.
You guys all have it. It's in your packet. This says figurative language is at the very top.
Hey, this time you trimmed it.
Yep. It's all trimmed up and ready to go for you guys.
Hang on. Where's it? Don't was confused. Where's half of my papers? I haven't got my packet yet. Where are half of my papers?
Did I just hear someone didn't get their package yet?
Yes, Steven.
Yes, me.
Who is that? Steven. I sent that packet out on Tuesday, September 8th. So that's a long time ago. So you definitely should have had your packet by now. So we're going to have to figure out... wait, Steven, you come to school here, right? You're not completely virtual, right? What, Steven, are you an A-Day kid or a B-Day kid or a virtual student?
B-Day.
Okay, so you're not going to get a packet. Packets are only for virtual students. I gave you, Steven, these papers that you needed. I gave them to you on Friday. All right, and I explained to you, every Friday you have to leave, and I'm going to hand you the papers that you need for Monday and Tuesday class, okay? So look in your ELA notebook. You should have this paper right in your ELA notebook, all right? Okay, take a look for it.
Mr. Trump.
Okay, guys, I have to get started right now. For questions, post them in the comments, and then you guys are going to jump on at office hours, all right? Okay, let's get going on our notes today, guys. Okay. So, we always... Yes, Piper, you have a question? All right. We always start our notes with a date and a title. I said that to you yesterday. John, remember you said yesterday, Mrs. Muller, or today, Mrs. Mullen was teaching you guys how to upload stuff, and you guys really haven't started. And I said normally we're on like chapter 5 or 6 by now.
Yeah.
Look at the date on those notes. What's it say? 9/11. Today is the 22nd.
Yeah.
Last year when we did these notes, we did them on the 11th. Okay, so we're actually 11 days behind. So that just kind of shows you how slow we're going. All right, so guys, we got to put the date on first. So everybody put down today's date on the top. It is 9/22. And today's topic we're going to talk about is figurative language. Okay? We're going to talk about figurative language today. And you'll see, today's notes are different. You're not doing lots of writing today. We're going to be filling in the blanks with these notes. Okay? Our topic is figurative language. Make that a little bigger. Oops. That would be too big, John. Move it down. There we go. All right, so ladies and gentlemen, figurative language. The first thing that we're going to answer is this question about what is figurative language. Look at that first blank. I'm going to call on you to read it, and when you read it out loud, when you get to the blank, I just want you to say blank. So you would read the first one like this. Figurative language is when words blank their literal meaning. All right? So that's how you guys would do it. You guys would read it out loud. All right, so anybody want to take a guess what goes in that blank? Ruth, figurative language is when words...
Describe.
All right, that's a good guess. Describe their literal meaning. Jane? All right, good one. Good guess. It is... Figurative language is when words, you guys are all going to fill it in right now, go beyond their literal meaning. All right. So now, what does that mean, Mr. Trumbull? They go beyond their literal meaning. Ruth. Hold on, Ruth, look at me. Holy cow! Now here's the question. Is there an actual cow in this room right now that happens to be holy? No. We use figurative language so much every day, it often goes unnoticed. Something as simple as saying, holy cow! It's figurative language. Okay? It means, wow, I am amazed at what I am seeing right now. Okay? So, the words go beyond their literal meaning. I don't actually mean there is a holy cow in our room right now. Okay? So there's a lot of different kinds of figurative language. The first one, I want you guys to all write down. You're probably familiar with it. Okay? Piper. How do you say that word? Simile. Okay? The first figurative language
Is this the right paper?
that we're gonna... No, that's not the right paper, Noah. It's blanks. There's notes. Okay? It's a cut sheet of paper. All right?
Why do I sound like copying paper?
I don't know. Noah, if you're frustrated though and you need to make some noise, I want you to mute yourself, okay? I know it can be challenging. We're all learning some new stuff. Okay? Stay patient. All right, guys. Oh, hi. Who took breakfast today?
Sorry to bother you.
There's only one. Yeah. Sorry.
Thank you.
All right, so what is a simile? Simile uses words blank or blank to compare one thing with another. Ruth.
Like or as.
You got it, Ruth. Okay. Simile uses words like or as to compare one thing with another. I've included a couple of examples on this page for you guys. I would like Jonathan, read the example.
She was as busy as a bee.
And keep going.
He played like a beast during the basketball game.
Good. In this first one, okay, what is being compared? She was as busy as a bee. What's being compared, Ruth?
Her business is
Yeah, her busyness is being compared to that of a bee. And we used which simile word? We used the word as. And you'll notice when we use as, it always comes up twice. She was as busy as a bee. The second one, he played like a beast during the basketball game. What is being compared in that statement, Jane?
He is being compared to a beast.
Close. He's not being compared to the beast. The way that he is playing is being compared to the way that a beast would play. He played like a beast. What does it mean he played like a beast? Justina? Okay, maybe he played rough. Piper, he played like a beast. What does it mean? Very aggressive. Ruth? Okay. All right. So that's the first one. Okay. Figurative language. One style of figurative language is a simile. Let's move on to the next one. This should be review for a lot of you guys. You guys all should know most of these. Let me call on a virtual student. I know you guys can't see it though up on the board. Can you see it from the blog? These notes are on the blog. So as we're doing the notes, Danica and Michelle, these notes, you can find them on roytrumbull.blogspot as well. They are there, just so you guys know. So if you're having trouble hearing or seeing anything, all of the notes are on the blog. In fact, I'm going to pull it up just to make sure that it's all still there.
What was the second and first one?
The first one was a simile. The second one is a metaphor. Okay, and they are, I'm looking at my blog right now. Every single note is on the blog. Okay, so you guys can pull that sheet up and it's all there. Okay, so a metaphor. What is a metaphor? Metaphors makes a direct what, Jane?
Comparison.
A direct comparison between one thing and another. Piper, can you read our example that I included in the notes?
He was a beast during the basketball game.
He was a beast during the basketball game. Notice, it's a lot like the simile. But in the simile, we say that he played like a beast. Okay? So it's an indirect comparison. All right? We're comparing two things. The way that he played to the way a beast would play. And in the second one, we're still doing the exact same thing. It's the same comparison. But now Ruth, instead of being soft about it and saying, oh, he played like a beast, he was a beast. It's still a comparison. Metaphors tend to be direct, strong comparisons. All right, let's move on. So I want to have lots of time to talk about the chapter and do the reading. Okay, the next one, guys, is John. You want to read that word?
Personification.
Good job sounding out. Personification. Personification. Virtual students, anybody want to shout out, what word do you see in personification? What? Person. I heard someone shout. Person. We see the word person in personification. So here's your definition. Basically, when we give person or human characteristics are given to an animal or a non-living object. And again, we see the clue is that person. So personification is when we're going to give human characteristics to an animal who can't do human things or a non-living object. Okay. Let's show a couple of examples. Look at the first one. I filled it in. My blank gave me a hug. And I put in what word there, Piper? My teddy bear. Is a teddy bear alive? No. Can a teddy bear give me a hug? No, a teddy bear can't give you a hug. It's an object. It can't do anything. So, in an example like this, my teddy bear gave me a hug. The thing that's being personified is the teddy bear. And what human characteristic am I giving it? I'm giving it the ability to hug. Justina, let's look at the next one. Okay, I put this word in. Can you read the sentence? All right, the lightning danced across the sky. So, what is the thing being personified? Ruth. Lightning is being personified. Lightning is not a living object. And what is the human characteristic that we've given the lightning? What is the human thing that the lightning can do, Justina? Dance. Okay? We are making the lightning dance. Humans dance. Okay? Lightning doesn't do anything. It just flashes up in the sky. All right? Lightning dances. And the last one. Okay? It says the wind howled. Just 3 words. The wind howled. So, What is being personified in that sentence, Piper? This last one. The wind howled. The wind is. What human characteristic are we giving the wind? We're giving it the ability to speak. Howling. Okay? So those are examples of which form of figurative language, John? Personification. Okay, so far we're up to 3. Okay? 3 forms of figurative language. The next one, anybody want to try to say that word? Piper.
Hyperbole?
Okay, good guess. Jane?
Hyperbole.
It's hyperbole. Normally you wouldn't hear that E at the end, but it says hyperbole. 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 Maybe one of my favorites to use.
Where does it say hyperbole?
Alright, so what is an hyperbole? This is an exaggeration. That is an exaggeration that is so dramatic, no one would ever believe the statement is true. And it's often used to make a point. Are you ready to go on? Okay, so I've got a couple of examples here for you. Here are the 2 examples I've given you. The first one, he's got 1,000,000 video games. Okay, this is a hyperbole. It is an exaggeration, all right, and I'm trying to use it to make a point. What do you think the point is? If I was to say, holy cow, Jonathan, you've got 1,000,000 video games. What am I really trying to say, John?
I have a lot.
You have a lot of video games.
I do.
Okay, you have a lot of video games. And you see, no one's going to believe, perhaps, that Jonathan really has 1,000,000 video games. They know what I'm talking about. They know that I'm trying to make the point that, holy cow, John, you've got a lot of video games. All right? I didn't actually sit there and count them to see if you had 1,000,000. And then look at the next one. Hyperbole is always used in advertisements. One of the biggest ones that just sticks out to me always is this one about Red Bull. How many of you guys know what Red Bull is? It's the energy drink, Red Bull. And we all know its slogan, Red Bull, it gives you wings. Does Red Bull literally give you wings? No. So it's an exaggeration, so dramatic, no one is going to believe the statement is true. No one's going to drink a Red Bull and then climb to the top of a tree or a building and think that they can fly. Alright? What is Red Bull trying to tell you about their product? Justina? I think that they are trying to make that statement, but not based off of it gives you wings. It gives you wings, Ruth. Okay, it could be faster.
It gives you energy.
Energy. That's the idea. Red Bull, man, it's going to give you so much energy. It's going to make you so fast. All right? So it doesn't literally mean it's going to give you wings. Let's keep on moving, guys, because I want to get through it all. The next one is alliteration. This is the way that you say that. Alliteration. And what is alliteration? It is the repetition of the initial sound in closely connected words. You guys all know alliteration because this is how they make tongue twisters. I'm going to start with my second one. Jane, would you read the second example of alliteration? It's on your paper, too.
She sells seashells down by the seashore. She sells seashells down by the seashore.
By the seashore. Good. And so I called on you to read that out loud. What is the sound that's being repeated? Repeated, Jane. Well, the S sound, right? That S sound keeps getting repeated. And this one here, I chose to put in the word grass, but go and gather the green garbage in the... First, what sound is being repeated over and over again, Piper? Go and gather the green garbage in the G. So, you guys can put any word in here that starts with that G sound. You don't have to put in the word grass. Go and gather the green garbage in the garden,
That's not that bad.
the garage, the gutter.
I
Okay.
like the second one.
Let's keep moving. Now, anybody want to take a guess at how you say that word? I'm going to move up our notes. Go ahead, Jane. Wow, you got it. Onomatopoeia. Spelled like this. Onomatopoeia.
A lot of O's.
Kind of like Mississippi.
Onomatopoeia. Onomatopoeia. One of my favorite words to say. And this is very simply, guys, sound words. Okay? Sound words. Words like, the car went boom. What's the onomatopoeia in that sentence? Jane? Boom. Or examples of words like splash, buzz, zip, zoom. Any of those sound words are onomatopoeia. You know where you see a lot of onomatopoeia? Old classic comic books.
Yes.
Like boom, pow, onomatopoeia. All right, the next one. We're going to move right along so we can get to our book. Is an idiom. I'm going to go quick now. Idiom. Not an idiot, an idiom.
That was.
Piper, read the definition of an idiom.
It's raining cats.
No, that's an example. Read us the definition.
And
Expression.
that cannot be understood by the words alone.
Very good. An expression that cannot be understood by the words alone. For example, it's raining cats and dogs. Okay. There's no way that you could understand that. If you were from a foreign country and you came here and you just learned how to speak English and someone said to you, it's raining cats and dogs, you would think that they were crazy. We're not going to look up in the sky and actually see cats and dogs falling from the sky. So what does a phrase like it's raining cats and dogs mean? Justina?
It's raining really hard.
It's raining really hard. And then you guys have hold your horses. What does hold your horses mean, John?
Slow down.
Calm down.
Calm down. I think of one word.
Stop.
Wait. That's exactly the word I think. If I'm like, Justina, hold your horses for a minute. I'm asking you to wait. All right, and then the last one. I have a frog in my throat. Okay, another form of an idiom. We know you don't actually have a frog in your throat. You can't understand it by the words. You kind of have to know what it means. And that's the thing with idioms. With idioms, either you know them or you don't. Okay? If you don't know what hold your horses is, you can't figure it out unless somebody tells you this is what those mean. Okay? We learn them because we hear them. All right, the last one, guys, is an allusion. An allusion. And this is simply a reference made to something that's not directly mentioned. For example, I'm going to put it in here. Kevin, he calls his mom the Fair Gwen, which is a reference to the Fair Guinevere from the Legend of King Arthur. All right. So it's kind of allusion is almost like a reference to something that's not explicitly here. Yes, Jane?
They said that in the mic.
Yes, I know. There's going to be lots of allusion in here. Okay, guys, so now we have our notes on figurative language. You're going to use them for tonight's homework. Let's talk about tonight's graphic organizer and what you're going to do for homework. Here is your homework for tonight. Tonight, what chapters are you reading, Justina? 2 and 3. We all know that these are very short chapters, so you guys are going to read 2 and 3.
I already read the
Okay.
chapter.
So take a look at what you are going to do. This graphic organizer at the top, Piper, you're going to practice writing a summary. Now, if it were me, what I would do when I'm reading the chapter is on the back of this sheet, I would just jot my notes down as I'm reading. I would annotate. So as I'm reading the chapter, I would just be writing notes on the back. Then, when I'm done, I would come back in here and I would write my summary. And now this, we just learned today about figurative language. So take a look here. You guys are going to be finding 2 examples of figurative language. So now that we have gotten our notes about figurative language and we've learned about the variety of different types, you guys are now ready to go on to chapter 2 and 3. And you're going to be using your notes when you read chapter 2 and 3, because you guys are going to be asked to write a summary and find 2 forms of figurative language. And I gave you those examples today in class. So I'm ready to start reading chapter 2 with you right now. At the end of chapter 1, or throughout chapter 1, we get introduced to the main character of Max. And Max is remembering a time in daycare when he met another person named Freak. And he's describing things that have happened in his past. So he's remembering how he used to kick kids and how they used to call him Little Kicker. In chapter 1, we also learn in the very opening line that our main character, Max, he feels very stupid. He feels like he doesn't have a brain. And so here we have Max, our main character, feeling not smart, having a very low self-esteem, and he meets this character that he calls Freak. And now we're ready to read chapter 2. Chapter 2 is called Up from the Down Under. That summer, let's see, I'm still living in the basement, my own private down under, in the little room Grim built for me there. Glued up this cheap paneling, right? I mean, it sort of buckles away from the concrete cellar walls, a regular ripple effect. But do I complain about the crummy paneling or the rug that smells like low tide? I do not, because I like it in the down under. Got the place all to myself and no fear of Graham sticking her head in the door and saying, "Maxwell, dear, what are you doing?" Not that I ever do much of anything. Grim has it fixed in his head that I'm at a dangerous age and they need to keep me under observation. Like I might make bombs or start a fire or whack out the local pets with my rusty slingshot or whatever. Except I never had a slingshot. It was Grim who had one when he was my age. The proof is right there in the family photo album. You can see the blurry little miniature Grim with no front teeth grinning at the camera and yanking back on this prehistoric slingshot. Good for whacking mastodons, probably. Just proper targets, Grim says, closing up the photo album. End of discussion. Don't want to give the dangerous boy any ideas now. Not that I have any ideas. My brain is vacant, okay? I'm just this critter hiding out in the basement, drooling in my comic books or whatever. All right, I never actually drool, but you get the picture. Anyhow, this is the first day of July, already counting down for the 4th, and wondering where can I get an M80, which is supposed to have the explosive power of a quarter stick of dynamite or something. And when it goes off, your heart thuds to a stop for a microsecond. Wham! Which is probably what Grim is afraid of. Eek, eek, Maxwell armed with dynamite. So finally I get bored in the down under, and I'm hanging out in the so-called backyard, your basic chunk of chain link heaven. Grim keeps this crummy little mower in the shed, but I mean, what's the point of mowing dirt, right? Okay. I'm out there messing around, and that's when I see the moving van. Not your mainstream nationwide brand name mover either. Just some cheapo local outfit. These big bearded dudes in their sweaty undershirts lugging stuff into the duplex half that's been vacant since last Christmas, when the dope fiend who lived there finally got busted. At first I'm thinking the dope fiend is back. I mean, he's out of jail or whatever. and he's moving his stuff back in. But then I see the fair Gwen. Not that I knew her name. That was a little while later. At first, she's a glimpse. Caught her going between the van and the front door, talking to the beards. I'm thinking, hey, I know her. And then I'm thinking, no way, butthead. No way you'd know a female that beautiful. Because she looks like some kind of a movie star, wearing these old jeans and a baggy t-shirt, and her long hair is tied back. And she's probably sweating, but she still looks like a movie star. Like she has a glow, a secret spotlight that follows her around and makes her eyes light up. And I'm thinking, well, this improves the neighborhood. You're thinking, yeah, right. The goon is barely out of 7th grade. Who does he think he is? Now, all I'm saying, the fair Gwen had star quality. And even a total moron like me can see it. And the reason that she looked familiar is, I must have seen her bringing Freak to daycare. Way back in the dark ages. Because the next thing I noticed is this crippled up, yellow-haired midget kid strutting around the sidewalk, giving orders to the beards. He's going, hey you, doofus. Yeah, you with the hairy face. Take it easy with that box. That box contains a computer. You know what a computer is? I can't believe it. By then, I'm sneaking along the street to see what's going on. And there's the weird-looking little dude. He's got a normal-sized head, but the rest of him is shorter than a yardstick. And kind of twisted in a way that means he can't stand up straight. And makes his chest puff out. And he's waving his crutches around, yelling at the movers. Hey, Gwen! What did a beard says? Can you give this kid a pill or something? He's driving us nuts. So Gwen comes out of the house and pushes the hair out of her big brown eyes and she goes, Kevin, go play in the backyard, okay? But my computer! Your computer is fine. Leave the man alone. They'll be done soon and then we can have lunch. By this time, I'm hunkering along in front of the place, trying to maintain a casual attitude. Except, like I said, my feet are going wild that year and I keep tripping over everything. Cracks in the sidewalk, ants on the sidewalk, shadows, everything. Then, the strange little dude jerks himself around and he catches sight of me and he lifts a crutch and points it up at my heart and he goes, identify yourself, Earthling. Now, I'm busy keeping my feet from tripping, and I don't get it that he means me. I said, identify yourself, Earthling, or suffer the consequences. Now, I'm like, what? And before I can decide whether or not to tell him my name, or which name, because by now I recognize him as the weird little robot kid from daycare, and maybe he remembers me as Kicker. Anyhow, before I can say a word, he pulls the trigger on that crutch and makes a weapon noise. And he goes, then die, Earthling, die. I motor out of there without saying a word because I'm pretty sure he really means it. The way he points that crutch is only part of it. You have to see the look in his eye. Man, that little dude really hates me. He wants me to die. And that's the end of chapter 2. This would be a really good time to pause for you guys to write parts of your summary. You also could turn your sheet over and you could make notes on the back of your sheet about the things that you think were important in chapter 2. I would include some information about Maxwell and about how he is getting a new neighbor. So Freak, the friend that he knew in daycare, is moving next door to him. And now we're going to move right on into chapter 3. Chapter 3 is titled American Flyer. Okay, back to the down under, right? My room in the basement. Scuttle into your dim hole in the ground, Maxwell dear. A big goon like you, growing about an inch a day, and this midget kid, this crippled little humanoid, He actually scared you? Not the kind of scare that makes your knee bones feel like water. More the kind of scare where you go, whoa, I don't understand this. I don't get it. What's going on here? Like calling me Earthling, which by itself is pretty weird, right? I already mentioned a few of the names I've been called, but until the robot boy showed up, nobody had ever called me Earthling. And so I'm lying on my mattress there in the great down under, and it comes to me that he's right. I am an Earthling. I mean, we're all of us Earthlings, but we don't call each other Earthling. There's no need. Because it's the same thing that in this country, we're all Americans, but we don't go around to people say, "Excuse me, American, can you tell me how to get to the nearest 7-Eleven?" So I'm thinking about that for a while, lying there in the cellar dark. And pretty soon, the down under starts to get small. Like the walls are shrinking. And I go up the bulkhead stairs into the backyard, and I find a place where I can check it out. There's this one scraggly tree behind the little freak's house, right? Like a stick in the ground with a few wimped out branches. And there is hardly any bigger, and there he is, hardly any bigger now than he was in daycare. And he's standing there waving his crutch up at the tree. I kind of slide over to the chain link fence, get a better angle on the scene. What's he doing whacking at that crummy tree, trying to jump up and hit the branch with his little crutch? And he's mad, hopping mad. Only he can't really jump. He just makes this jumping kind of motion. His feet never leave the ground. Then, what he does, he throws down the crutch and he gets down on his hands and knees and he crawls back to his house. If you don't know, you would think he was like in kindergarten, or he was like a kindergarten creeper who forgot how to walk. He's that small. And he crawls real good, better than he can walk. Before you know it, he's dragging this wagon out from under the steps. Rusty red thing, one of those old American flyer models. Anyhow, the little freak is tugging it backwards, a few inches at a time, chugging along until he gets that little wagon under the tree. Next thing, he picks up his crutch and he climbs in the wagon and he stands up and he's whacking at the tree again. Now, by now, I figured out that there's something stuck up in the branches and he wants to get it down. This small, bright colored thing looks like a piece of folded paper. Whatever it is, the paper thing, he wants it real bad. But even with the wagon, there's no way he can reach it. Just no way. So, I go over there to his backyard, trying to be really quiet. But I'm no good at sneaking up, not with these humongous feet. And he turns and he faces me with that crutch raised up, like he's ready to hit a grand slam on my head. He wants to say something. You can tell that much. But he's so mad, he's all huffed up, and the noise he makes, it could be from a dog or something. And he sounds like he can hardly breathe. What I do? I keep out of range of that crutch and just reach up and pick that paper thing right out of the tree. Except it's not a paper thing. It's a plastic bird, light as a feather. I have to hold it real careful or it might break. That's how flimsy it is. I go, "You want this back or what?" The little freak is staring at me, bug-eyed, and he goes, "Oh, it talks." I give him the bird thing. What is it, like a model airplane or something? You can tell he's real happy to have the bird thing back, and his face isn't quite so fierce. He sits down in the wagon and he goes, "This is an ornithopter." An ornithopter is defined as an experimental device propelled by flapping wings. Or you could say that an ornithopter is just a big word for a mechanical bird. That's how he talked, like right out of the dictionary. So smart you could hardly believe it. And while he's talking, he's winding up the bird thing. There's this elastic band inside, and he goes, "Observe and be amazed, Earthling." And then he lets it go. And you know what? I am amazed, because it does fly just like a little bird, flitting up and down and around, higher than I can reach. I chase after the thing until it boinks against the scrawny tree trunk, and I bring it back to him. And he winds it up again and makes it fly. We keep doing that. It must be for almost an hour, until finally the elastic breaks. I figure that's it. End of Ornithopter. But he says something like, all mechanical objects require periodic maintenance. We'll schedule installation of a new propulsion unit as soon as the fair Guinevere gets a replacement. Even though I'm not sure what he means, I go, that's cool. You live around here, Earthling? Over there, I point out the house, in the down under. He goes, what? And I figure that it's easier to show him than explain all about Graham and Grimm and the room in the cellar. So I pick up the handle to the American Flyer wagon and I tow him over. I mean, it's real easy. He doesn't weigh much. And I'm pretty sure I remember looking back and seeing him up in the wagon, happy as can be. Like he's really enjoying the ride and not embarrassed to have me pulling him around at all. But like Freak says later in the book, you can remember anything, whether it happened or not. All I'm really sure of is he never hit me with his crutch. And that is the end of chapter 3. So now, students, it's your job to take the events of chapter 2 and chapter 3 and to write your best summary. Remember, when you guys write summaries, I want you to focus on just the most important details. Summaries are not just one sentence. You should be able to take chapters 2 and 3, write a couple sentences for each about the main things that are happening. And then, of course, the last thing that you need to do is find those 2 forms of figurative language. And these 2 chapters are filled with them. So use today's notes, guys. I'll be very curious to find or to hear what you guys found about your figurative language. We're going to continue to work on figurative language all week. So with that said, it's a pleasure to read it to you guys. I look forward to seeing you guys on Thursday. You will only need to come on Wednesday if you have questions. So I will be on office hours tomorrow from 11 to 12. If you're struggling with anything, please come on to the office hours and see me there. In the meantime, guys, bye. Have a great one, and I'll see you next time.